I'm not sure if this fits here since it's only sort of tech support, but here goes. This story takes place around 2005, about 15 years before I started actually working in IT. At the time I was a department lead in one of the processing plants for a large photography company. My department was responsible for very basic retouching of pictures in Photoshop using Wacom tablets, entry-level stuff that doesn't require any previous experience. I had a 70-plus-year-old guy in my department who basically only worked there to keep busy after retiring from his real career. We'll call him Joe. While Joe wasn't a computer tech, he was very comfortable with computers and knew a ton about Photoshop. I learned a lot from him over the years. Joe also had a great sense of humor and was the type of person who could talk circles around anyone he met. When he chose to poke fun at someone, which he did often, they usually didn't even know he was joking around with them until several minutes later because he was so quick on his feet. All this meant that it was extremely satisfying that one time I actually got the better of Joe. I was always the go-to guy to fix computer issues in my department and the several departments that were near mine when people didn't want to open a ticket. One day Joe calls me over and says he's having trouble with his Wacom tablet. Joe, hey, every time I try to use the healing brush it just leaves this big white smear instead. Me, oh, I've seen this before, I know exactly how to fix it. This is going to sound weird, but just bear with me. Joe, okay. Me, first, set down the stylus and stand up. He sets the stylus down on his desk and stands up, expecting me to sit down and take over. Instead I take a step back. Me, okay, now here's the weird part. I want you to turn around in a full circle until you're facing the computer again. Trust me, this always works. He gives me this incredulous look, like I've lost my mind. But he goes along with it. Me, perfect, now sit back down and try again. Joe, but you didn't do anything. Me, just try it. Like I said, this always works. He proceeds to pick up the stylus, try again, and when it works he looks at me like I just pulled a rabbit out of his ear. That's when I tell him he was holding the stylus upside down and when he sat back down and picked it up he was holding it correctly that time. In Photoshop if you hold the Wacom stylus upside down it automatically uses the eraser tool instead of whatever tool you have selected. I know for a fact that Joe knew this, since he's the one that taught it to me, but that day it just didn't dawn on him for whatever reason. Edit, holy cow, thanks for all the awards. I'm glad people enjoyed this story. Fresh from today, it has not been a good day. Although long out of IT, you get known as the bloke who knows about computers and I'm used to it. Mostly. A colleague came to my desk. We'll call her Fran, to protect the guilty. Background, we have a program we use where we access a server with files on it. If you save the files locally, you're damned. Sadly you need management access to see where the file is saved to prevent people changing files down the line. You're IT people. I obviously don't need to explain further. Fran, I've lost some scanning. I can view it on progs but no one else has access to it. Me, right, I'll need to come to your machine to find them. The files were nowhere to be found on the local machine. I looked in the usual places, I scanned something to see where it was being saved to, I checked that she was logged in as herself at the time to see if it was in someone else's profile on the C:/. Fran, by the way, does it make a difference that I wasn't at my machine at the time? I was using Philippe's. One more question to add to the list of stupid questions to ask users. This is still pretty fresh in my mind. This is how I learned that the best thing to know is how to ask the right questions. It's officially been 1 full week since my brother died. Massive heart attack, I felt his pulse disappear. He was an avid photographer, known around our entire county, and a truly intelligent person. He was my family's tech guy, a role that now falls to me. This is where I come in. Because he was such an avid photographer, my parents wanted access to his computers to try and pull some of the many thousands of pictures he's taken. But he didn't keep any of his passwords or hints in his safe. They asked me if I could try to get in, to avoid having to pull the drives and potentially lose something. I went to work trying to find some way of breaking in and removing those passwords. Eventually I found a way, which I will not be detailing here. All I will say is I managed to change some file names and got a method of changing the passwords of all accounts on the computer, as well as his laptop. My parents nearly fell apart when I told them I'd managed to get in without disrupting any data whatsoever. This entire ordeal has firmly planted a desire to engage in a profession within the IT field. I know from reading the stories here it won't all be sunshine and daisies, but if I can ever help another family like I was able to help mine, I want to try. I apologize if this is poorly written, or maybe doesn't fit here, but I needed to tell it, to remind people, jobs in IT may be hell, but maybe the person on the other end of your line is going through the worst pain imaginable, losing a child that had so much promise. He would have been 29 next March. He was on track to be in the US State Department, he's made friends around the world, and deserved a much longer life. Goodbye TFDS, and goodbye, brother. Top edit, title should read to her and not to get. Quick backstory here, I work in the physical therapy industry and am part of a team supporting around 1,300 individual clinics. Each clinic we support is part of our company, we aren't third party in any way. We either own these clinics or are in a partnership of some kind. We buy laptops and desktops and configure them before shipping them out to new users and clinics. Part of our configuration is installing LogMeIn and another remote access software. So I'm working here for about 6 months and I get a call from a receptionist lady that I'll refer to as RL. The conversation goes as such. Me, company name, help desk, this is me. RL, hello? My computer isn't working. Me, I see, is the computer turning on? What is the issue with it? RL, it turns on but I don't know what's wrong, can you fix it? Me, no problem, I should be able to help. Let me take a look, what's the identification number so I can start a remote session? RL, it is most certainly a problem. I don't know who you are and I can't just let you into my computer. Me, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to troubleshoot what the problem may be and I can't get a good idea of that over the phone. RL, well, you can't connect to my computer, I don't trust you. I need to speak with my manager about this. At this point I'm a little frustrated but trying to stay professional and not blurt it, lady, this is our computer, I can connect anytime I please. She puts me on hold for about 15 minutes while she speaks to the clinic director, I'll reference them as CD. CD picks up the phone. CD, hello? This is, their name. Me, hello, my apologies for any confusion. I was helping RL with an issue she was having in her computer and she was worried about me connecting to her computer. CD, you need to fix it, right? Go ahead and remote into it, I'll talk to RL about it. Turns out that CD was shocked at his receptionist's attitude towards me and ended up apologizing for it. I fix the issue and go about my day, and a couple days later I see a termination notice come in for RL, my boss, and I had a good laugh about it. For context, I've worked at this place for over 2 years now and I can count on one hand how many people have been rude or hostile towards me.